Hi, my name is Alexander Ziri. I'm head of product here at London Real, and I'd like to welcome you to tonight's webinar, The Ancient Greek Speech Structure That Made My TED Talk Go Viral. It's going to be very nice tonight. I'm really excited. How about downloading that workbook? Julian's going to give you a little link, and you'll have all the steps outlined on how to take an idea that you have. Could be for whatever. It could be for a speech, could be for your boss because you want to get promoted. Maybe you want to close some more deals. We're going to take that idea and mold it step by step into a real speech. That is what today is going to be all about. It's going to be the ethos, pathos, and logos. How do you get all those ideas, all those thoughts in your mind and convey it into one solid message? That's what we're going to talk about. And not just conveying the message, but actually have people take action on it. That is what tonight's webinar is all about. But it's not me who's going to talk about it. I'm going to introduce to you the man who will take you on tonight's journey. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you, he is the founder of London Real, a personal project that has grown into a highly respected media company where he interviews the most fascinating people on the planet, bring out their truth, and share it with an audience who want to build a better version of themselves. He has had over 300 amazing guests on the show, including Ido Portal, Jocko Willink, Dan Pena, Dorian Yates, Wim Hof, Tim Ferriss, Graham Hancock, Gary Vee, Alex Icahn, Simon Sinek, Elliot Hulse, and the list just goes on and on and on. What was first an idea has now grown into a global phenomenon that has impacted millions of people. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the one and only Mr. Brian Rose.
Mr. Ziri, thank you so much.
There you go. Hope you like that intro.
It was a very good intro, as usual. You know, I'm excited to give this masterclass tonight because I've been thinking about this for over 2 weeks. And the TED Talk that I'm going to discuss tonight, it's the thing that blew up London Real. It put us on the map. It got guys like you and Mr. Bales to be part of the team responsible for over $1 million in revenue. This was a game changer for me, and this is coming from an MIT nerd, science geek who never did any public speaking until 3 years ago. I wish I had known about this earlier because it is the only way, in my opinion, to scale your message and get people behind you. And I just want people to get pumped up tonight and put themselves out there. You know, so many times there's fear that keeps people back, but we're going to show them a structure tonight to where you can do anything. Pitch clients, you can get it to go into the boardroom, speak from the stage. You can even use it to get your kid to eat broccoli. I'm talking about basics. So I'm going to jump in.
Sounds very good.
All right, good.
Sounds very good. Luck and enjoy.
Thank you. I will. All right, folks, let's get this started tonight. Welcome to the masterclass. I'm super excited to share with you 3 actionable points, and that's what we do here at London Real. I'm going to give you really tangible assets that you can build into your speech, and in the next 45 minutes, you're going to have something you can walk away with and use in your business to get clients, in your family, or if you want to go on stage like I did with my TED Talk. So let's get started. I'm super pumped, but first tell me, where are you right now? What city are you in? New York City? Are you in Brazil, in China, in Russia, in Asia? I'm here in London, England, specifically Shoreditch, in the brand new London Real World Headquarters. We've been here a total of 7 days. And we've got super fast internet, so I should be in complete high definition here. Hopefully I'm looking all right. But go ahead and type in what city are you watching from. And also make sure you download the workbook. Mr. Ziri worked very hard to get that workbook in front of you because again, I want you to take actionable steps here. We're going to be talking back and forth on Webinar Jam, and I'm going to give you some insights and some ideas on how we can get your speech to the next level. But before we do all that, I want you to do me a favor. Take all of those browser tabs right now on the internet, the one with the YouTube and the Twitter and the Instagram, and Lord knows what else you have up there. Just close them for now. Close them all. Take your mobile phone, turn it on airplane mode. Shut the door, put the dog out, tell your wife or husband not to bother you for the next 60 minutes because this is game-changing stuff, folks. This can change your life, can change your business, could change your relationships, everything, because I believe You must know how to speak to inspire if you want to get anywhere in this world beyond your own self and in your own head. And so many of us out there are in that head the whole time. If you're an introvert like me, you're always thinking, I can't do it. But I'm going to show you tonight exactly how to do it. So shut all that stuff down. And I want to give you the show up bonus. You made it. It was hard to do. It's Monday night. It's 7 o'clock in London. Lord knows what time it is where you are. I know we got people in Australia where it's 3 in the morning. That's dedication. I like that. I appreciate the work. But I want you to go ahead and watch the Philip McKernan Success Secrets later. Julian's going to put that in the chat. Don't watch it now, but Philip is an amazing guy. I actually had dinner with him last week. He's a great speaker, and you can learn a lot just by watching him and watching the greats. So that is the show up bonus. Tonight, I'm going to share with you something that's actually ancient. Over 2,300 years ago, a guy named Aristotle, have you heard of him, came up with this structure, and he called it the 3 pillars of public speaking. And it's simple, yet quite complex. And once you actually see it, you will see it in all great messages, speeches, even advertisements, you'll see it out there. And it consists of these 3 pillars. The first is pathos. The next is ethos, and finally, logos. And I'm going to get into this in massive detail, but pathos is the appeal to an emotion, getting someone's emotions, whether they be fear or anger or love or hate, getting them brewed up when you speak. Very important. Next, ethos, and that is what gives you the character to persuade someone. What's your background? Why do you bring something to the table that's going to convince someone? What is it in you that can convey the message? Very, very important. And the last one is logos. And this is a logical or persuasive argument that you can use to convey your point of view. All great speeches have these 3 things. If you're missing one, you're never going to do it. It's not going to work. And I'm going to show you how you can incorporate all 3 into any speech structure, whether it's asking for that promotion from the boss, or whether it's pitching a client on a new service, or going on to a TED stage and speaking in front of millions, or getting your kid to eat broccoli. I've tried this with Caden, and it is going to work. But again, you need all 3 of these elements, and you're going to see this very, very shortly. So first, before we get started, I want you to tell me, what is your speech idea? What is it? Is it something for a client? Is it something in your business? Is it something that you want to convince someone to do? Is it a big idea that you want to talk about on stage? That's what I want you to go ahead and type in right now. And again, no idea is too small or too big, because I want to jump into all of them tonight. So go ahead and type that in the chat. I'm going to go to them later, but it could really be anything. Like I said, promotion, business, children, relationships, or just spreading a big idea. But a little bit about me. I'm Brian Rose, and I've been the founder and host of London Real for the past 6 years. I've spoken to over 400 of the greatest minds on the planet right here in this studio and our former studios, but I never started out as a good speaker. In fact, if you had caught me doing the same thing 4 years ago, I would have been talking like and I would have been really weird and shy, and I would have wanted to walk off, and I wouldn't have known what to say. That was me. That was the reality. I grew up doing science fair projects in 5th and 6th and 7th and 8th grade. I won the California State Science Fair. I loved being in my head. I was a programmer, and I programmed in Pascal and in Fortran, and I loved science because it allowed me to figure out problems, but it never asked me to communicate to others. I've learned all of this in the past 3 years, which means you can too. And to go through the rest of my life, I went on to go to MIT in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and there it got worse. There's no English classes at MIT. It's all about engineering and science and calculus and computers. And I went from there to Wall Street, where I was yelling in phones and doing trades. Again, not speaking to inspire. And it continued. I was the CFO of a .com company, and I still didn't really have to inspire people. I was keeping the numbers, keeping the books, working on business plans. And even when I started London Real, I really wasn't speaking. If you watch the first 3 years of episodes, I just sit there and I listen. And it wasn't until my TED Talk that is coming up almost exactly 3 years ago that I decided I had to change my game. And I remember that moment where I was just thinking to myself, wait a second. I'm the founder and host of London Real. I've had guys like Neil deGrasse Tyson on my show, Tim Ferriss. I've been on the Joe Rogan Experience, and yet I've never given a talk on stage. How can I talk about my vision? How can I talk about where London Real should go? How can I recruit a team if I've never gotten on stage? And so I threw myself in the deep end. I booked that TED Talk because I knew it was the best of the best. And I knew it would push me to become the best. And I've always liked to do that. I trained with black belts. I went to MIT. I have the greatest guests in the world here in this studio. And that's what I did. And I remember I went to prepare for it. And it was a lot of preparation. I started off and I just had all of these ideas. I didn't know how to structure them. I didn't think anyone would care what I had to say. I didn't think I had anything to say. And a lot of you might be feeling the same way, but I'm here to tell you that's actually not true. We all have something to say, but you have to structure it in the right way. And so that's what my TED Talk was all about. 8 weeks of preparation. I'll get into some of this later. And I was militant. I would film myself, and to be honest, the first versions are absolute garbage. If I watch them back now, it makes me want to cry. They were so bad. I said the wrong things. The jokes were bad. I was trying to promote London Real too much. I was trying to promote me too much. I wasn't focusing on the pathos and the ethos and the logos. And when I finally got to those 3 pillars, the thing really got to be good. And so there I was on the day, and I knew if I got this right, it was going to be big. But I also knew it's a live scenario. If I forgot in the middle, if I screwed up, it was all going to be for nothing. And I remember going up to that stage, and I had practiced, and I had set the whole structure up, and I gave that talk. And afterwards, the feedback was incredible. I got a standing ovation. People in the audience came up and shook my hand, but nothing happened until they uploaded it to YouTube. And that's when it just went through the roof. We got 100,000 views immediately. I got comments from so many people, old high school teachers I hadn't heard of, old friends, business colleagues, all commented, and I answered every single one of them at the time. It was like 400 or 500 comments. It was crazy. And then everything started to open up. I got business partnerships offered to me. I had guests contact me to be on the show, and it really, really changed everything. And so I want to encourage you to go ahead and do things like that tonight, because it's really how you can make a huge breakthrough in life by finally speaking on that stage. And again, it doesn't have to be on a stage in front of cameras. It can be in a boardroom, in front of clients, in front of your boss, or just in front of a group of people telling that great story like you want to be the life of the party. It just means to really know how to communicate. And we're going to break that down tonight in 3 actionable steps. And I'm pumped to get started. So let's jump in. I want to see what city you're from and what is your idea for that big speech. So let's talk to Mr. Julian Bales, who's been waiting while I've been blabbing here a little bit. Our head of strategy, what is going on out there? I always want to know, where are these people from? How is the chat going out there?
The chat is very active as always, Mr. Rose. We have people from all over the world. Let's start with the US.
Yes.
Plenty of people tuning in from the US. We've got David in Seattle.
Awesome, very good. So I haven't been there, but I want to go one day. Weather's just like London, I hear.
We've got Derek in Idaho.
Excellent, good stuff. Welcome, Derek.
Shanice in Virginia.
Okay, all right.
And then if we bring it back this way a little bit, we've got Dominic in Poland.
Excellent, welcome.
Zabia in Madrid, Spain.
Okay.
Katrina in Belgrade, Serbia.
Fantastic.
Mixing up a little bit on the other side of the world, we've got Rob in Sydney, Australia.
Man, what time is it, Rob? Type it in. I think it's 3 a.m. That's dedication. Thank you, sir.
And we have Alex in Taipei, Taiwan.
Okay, fantastic. I love the Asian contingency. And again, I'm not surprised by this, because this is what everything looks like inside the London Real Academy. On these kinds of live calls, we always have people from 12 or 13 different time zones, so this makes sense. Does that pretty much round out everybody?
Can't forget the Brits. We've got Vivian in Twickenham here in London.
Okay.
And we also have Jimmy in Huddersfield.
Okay, fantastic. Welcome from all of those places. Has anybody typed in their big idea or any of those ideas that they're thinking about? I'm always curious how many people say want to get on stage and talk about something big, or people just want to focus on what's in front of them. You know, that promotion, that client, that boardroom thing. They're all valid and they're all stepping stones to the next thing.
Sure, we've got quite a mix here. So Tim is saying he's really looking to improve his pitching skills for investors.
Okay, good. Very, very important, because the pitch, you're only going to get a few minutes. Matter of fact, they probably will give you 60 seconds of credibility before they shut down. Very important to get that right.
Casey's saying he's looking to get into Stanford philosophy.
Okay, all right. So that's to get into the university, and you probably have to do some type of a live piece or something before they accept you, right? Maybe a dissertation or something. Okay, good.
Jude is on a mission to convince people to become vegan.
Okay, very good. I like that's a bigger idea, maybe for the stage.
Grace wants to connect with her customers, and Kenneth is looking to motivate employees.
Okay, all right, those are all really good. And Kenneth, that really resonates with me because that was really an effect I didn't see coming from my TED Talk, because I never realized that I had to really tell my team and my potential team what was really going on inside of me. And all those episodes of London Real, again, it was 150 episodes at that point that didn't really convey what was going on. That's why I call that the most important 16 minutes of my life, and I'm going to get into that later tonight. So is that pretty much the rounded out? All right, look, I'm going to jump in because I want to be really efficient here with time. And again, like any masterclass here at London Real, I like to give you 3 actionable items. And stay with me here and go big. When I'm asking you something, put it back in there because I want to get feedback from you and I want to give you feedback as far as what's going on. So again, download the workbook if you haven't, because I want you to go ahead and put all your answers in here. And let's talk about the first pillar from Aristotle, and that is pathos. Pathos is so crucial when it comes to any speech, because without pathos, you really don't have anything. And that is the quality of a persuasive presentation which appeals to the emotions of an audience. It could be fear, it could be love, it could be hate, it could be anger. Anything like that is so crucial because we're not robots, folks. We have to really grasp on and feel something. Otherwise, it's just a scientific report or a bunch of facts being stated. So that's why without this one, you have nothing, and that's why I really want to start with this. And there's examples of this all around. If you look at things like in business, if you look at, say, an advertisement on business, if they're selling you, say, a security system, they won't say, this is the greatest system on the market. They'll say, what's it worth to know that your kids are safe at home at night? They're already going into your feelings, and it gets you to do something. Again, if you're going for that promotion for the boss, you might come in and say, look, I live, breathe, eat, and sleep online marketing. I can take this promotion and take the company to the next level. It's like, wow, there's a lot of passion in there, and that's what gets people across the board. And again, in public speaking, if you can evoke emotions and tell someone something that gets them emotional about your story, that's how they buy into who you are. And so all the greats use this concept of pathos, and you can use it in a lot of ways. You can use tone of voice, you can go low, you can go high, you can also use vocabulary. Certain adjectives can kind of paint the structure and get people to feel certain ways, but the way that we love to do it here at London Real Academy is through stories. And you'll see in my TED Talk, I told a variety of stories, and these weren't just random. These were specifically placed in specific moments to get certain emotions out of the audience. And we use stories here all the time. In fact, if you think about London Real, I tell a story every week, a story of the guests, their highs, their lows, their lessons, everything. Our movies are the same way. We tell stories. And that's an amazing way that we all can use to connect. And so tonight, I want you to be telling a story. And I'm going to give you an example of a technique we have here at London Real called an instant inspire moment. And I use this in my TED Talk, and I encourage you to use this in the start of the speech that you're planning tonight. And so I'm going to ask you to come up with your own instant inspire moment tonight, right after I give you an example. And this is a great way to connect with your audience. And you start off with your speech, and you need to open up. You need to tell a story that immediately connects you with the audience. A lot of times it means you've got to get real. Maybe get a little emotional, maybe get a little vulnerable, and let them inside, because we all have empathy with each other. We're all humans, and so I understand the struggle you're going with. And if you can open up with that story that gets them invested in your emotions, that is your instant inspire moment. And I want you to think about what you would use that for in your speech right now, and I want to give you an example of my own instant inspire moment. Now, if you remember my TED Talk, I started off with my story begins like all great stories do, and that is with Sir Richard Branson, right? And I practice that over and over again, and it immediately gets the audience to say, what? What's going on? Who? Sir Richard Branson? I know him. You know him? Okay, what's going on, Brian? And after that, I take them on this emotional arc where I talk about me at Sir Richard Branson's chalet in Switzerland, and I'm hanging out with all of these bankers, and we're sipping champagne on the slopes, having a merry old time. And I get them really emotionally involved in me. I actually get them to hate me, right? And this was something I was willing to go ahead and take a big chance that I could bring them back with some love by the end of the talk. And so I started it off with some hate. And I told this story about how I was with this audience of bankers and I had everything I had ever wanted. Everything my parents promised me, everything my university told me I should have, everything I thought I needed to be happy. I had the money, I had the status, I was with all these people at this epic scenario. And all of a sudden, I got a text from someone in London and he said, "How's the ski?" And I looked around and said, "I've never been surrounded by so many people and felt so alone." And then I went and resigned from my job of 10 years and went out into the world with no idea what to do next. It was a real downer moment. And the audience immediately was like, "Wow, I was kind of hating on you, but now I feel bad because now you seem okay and now I'm listening." That is an instant inspire moment. And you can create one no matter what type of speech you have. And it's an amazing way to hook your audience in with pathos from the start. And it's an incredible tool. And if you can master that, you can use it in any situation. I use it now in pretty much every single public speech I do. I always pull them in with an instant inspire moment. Could be something that happened that day, could be something I spoke to someone in the audience about, something about the venue and the place, and it pulls them right in. So I want you to think of this right now. What could you say to your boss or to your leads or to your children trying to eat broccoli or to that vegan movement that you want to inspire out there? What's that instant inspire moment? You know, I had a guy in here named James Aspey this week, and he is actually a vegan activist, and he was telling me these stories, and he talked about being diagnosed with cancer when he was 19 years old and going and getting this massive chemo and thinking he was going to die. Wow, that was an instant inspire moment. Then he talked about being suffering bulimia and binging like 3 or 4 tubs of ice cream at a time and purging it. Wow, that was an instant inspire moment. And he went on with more of these stories that really pulled me in. He was a master at it. These things really work, and it trumps everything else. It trumps speaking ability. It trumps position. It trumps charm. It trumps everything. So if you can use this, it's going to work really effectively for you. So I want you to just brainstorm right now and type in what could be your instant inspire moment. Again, go deep. Get a little vulnerable as a human. It'll really, really help you. And think about that thing that you can say, the thing you can admit to that'll pull all the humans in the audience in, all right? So I want you to think of that. And of course, I want to play for you the very beginning of my TED Talk where I told this story and see if you can feel those emotions coming in and see if you can feel me constructing this image of a greedy banker that you hate and see how you feel afterwards. So here's me on the stage dropping Richard Branson's name. My story begins like all great stories do, and that is with Sir Richard Branson. I was staying at his private chalet in the Swiss Alps in a small town called Verbier, and this place comes complete with an ice rink, spa, indoor pool, and an outdoor jacuzzi. And I was there with 40 of my clients and colleagues celebrating a great year in the banking industry. We were all from the City of London Financial Center. And we were sitting back, having our après-ski drinks after having a long day on the slopes. And the fireplace was roaring and the jacuzzi was steaming. And you can feel the buzz of the evening as we were trying to figure out what restaurant to go to, what club to hit afterwards. And I realized that I finally had everything I had been working my entire life for. What my parents had wanted, what my university had promised me, and what I knew would finally make me happy. And that, quite frankly, was money and a successful career. And I went to pour myself a glass of champagne, and I got a text from a buddy in London, and he said, "How's the ski?" And so I looked around at all these people and out through the window, and I remember the pine trees and the snow coming down right around sunset. And I paused and I wrote back, "I've never been surrounded by so many people and felt so alone." And 3 months later, I walked into the office of my managing director and I resigned from my position of 10 years. I didn't want to do that work anymore.
and I had no job, no prospects, and was absolutely terrified about what would come next.
And there I was, the first 2 minutes of my TED Talk. I pulled them in with some pathos. First of all, type yes in the chat if you've seen my whole TED Talk, because I'm just trying to get a feeling for who's seen that out there. But that was the idea, to pull them in with the pathos. And here are 2 comments that were from that YouTube feed. And this is what they said. The first one is from John Nye, and he said, "This went under my skin, probably because it went under yours. Great talk." That's an amazing compliment from John. Obviously, he felt something emotional. And the next comment is from Emmanuel Freeman, and he said, "That was excellent, Brian. I was completely gripped throughout the entire duration. The message was also clear and concise. Now to take massive action. Once again, great job." So you can see that he was moved to go ahead and do something about it. And he said it was completely gripped throughout the duration, but really the subtext is, I had him from the beginning. And that's what you do if you start out with an instant inspire moment. So again, if you haven't yet, type in the chat right now and tell me, what is your instant inspire moment? What's that little short story or that little nugget that you can tell someone that will pull them in and get an emotional feel for it? And again, it could be for that vegan movement. It could be for that philosophy degree at Stanford, or it could be for that promotion. Whatever it is, it's just giving them a little bit of a nugget. And for example, if I was going for that promotion, I would say, "You know what, boss? I was here on Saturday working on this project, and a year ago, I would have been frustrated to be working those hours. But now, this work invigorates me. It's what I want my life's purpose to be. I want to see this company to the next level, and I want to be a part of this journey. So help me help you and give me this position." That's something where you can maybe just pull him in and a little something and share something where before you would have been mad at him and now you're not. And all of a sudden he's like, "Okay, I'm listening." And that's an amazing way to start off a conversation that could be really bland. "Hey, that promotion you told me I could have, can I have it?" That's not going to do it. Get to him on an emotional level or her on an emotional level, and it's going to be an amazing key. So let's go. I want to hear some of your instant inspire moments. This is crucial that people kind of understand this concept. Julian, are people getting it, or should I try to explain a little bit more?
No, they're definitely getting it. Some powerful inspirational moments here. Do you want to hear a few of them?
I would love to, yes.
Okay, let's start with Gareth. He says his is from drug-addicted homelessness in his late teens to cancer in his mid-20s to becoming a personal trainer and helping others get healthy.
Wow, like that's powerful. You already got me, Gareth. I'm already interested. And again, you heard that I spoke with James this week, and many of you might have seen that live stream. But again, a young man like that with similar stories to you, all of a sudden we were interested. And to be honest, I've had more speakers with more credibility on veganism. I've had doctors in here talking about a plant-based diet, but it was James that captured our attention because he used the instant inspire moment. So again, Gareth, I really appreciate that, and I appreciate your honesty, because that's really rare to see someone really open up about that right now. And so that's a really good stuff. Next.
Tyler says, how I was able to beat being an addict and being motivated to reach my goals as a father, husband, and business owner.
Great, I love this. Look, you know, the addict story I don't think can be played out. I talk about my own struggle with alcoholism when it comes to London Real. I'm not embarrassed about that. The truth is we're all humans and we all suffer from these things. And whether you're a housewife with pills in the pantry, or whether it's a bottle or a needle, we've all had that brush, or we know someone that struggled with addiction. I think it's a brilliant thing to use to connect with people when used intelligently. So that's super, super important. And again, just to throw one of my examples in, when I'm trying to get Caden to eat that broccoli, I'm gonna say to him, you know, look, buddy, when I was your age, I didn't like broccoli either, you know? But I knew I wanted to get big and strong, and so I ate my broccoli, and look at me now. Now, we'll see if he buys that. But like, that's a little instant inspire moment that you can pull him in and he can be like, wait a second, you're not my dad? Oh, you used to be a little like me? Again, anything like this can just gets someone out of that mentality of, oh, this person is asking me for something.
This one, very topical at the moment. Grace is saying how I got off insulin after 8 years.
Wow. See, all of a sudden you have my attention, Grace. Now, if you had instead started talking to me about diabetes and early onset diabetes and the problem we all face from eating too much refined sugars, etc., I would have been like, okay, that's all right. That's kind of interesting. You might have convinced me. But right away, I'm like, wow, okay, she's been there. She's walked the walk and talked the talk. You got my attention. So again, a perfect component. This will make a great speech. All you have to do is use the other two components and then execute. Easy.
Alberto says, breaking through my mental illness. He had an obsession with fear, the feeling of going to hell since he was in grade 3, never being able to fully embrace my mind and always feeling like I was living in the shadows. This illusion felt so real that I would be paralyzed with fear, but I broke through that barrier.
Wow. Okay, you already got it. When's your TED Talk, Alberto? You got me. I mean, this is high quality stuff. If you look at some of the most powerful TED Talks out there, go look at the top 50. You'll see instant inspire moments probably on 30 of them. People come out and bam, I was a child soldier in Sierra Leone when I was 12. I had killed 40 people. What? Okay, I'm listening for the next 16 minutes. So Alberto, perfect. This is the time to get vulnerable. It's an amazing, amazing resource, vulnerability. We use it all the time in the Academy, and this is the time to use it. So I love it. I think everyone's really getting this.
Martin says, I can talk about my hard teenage years as proof of lack of assertivity growing up.
Okay, good. That's good, Martin. I'd love to know an example. So give me that instant inspire moment of something that happened to you when you were 14, and just make it like I was there. So there I was, broken arm, blah blah blah. My best buddy was knocked out unconscious next to me, and I finally realized I had to clean my act up. Whoa, you just got me. And all of a sudden I see that irresponsibility as a 14-year-old, and it's clear as day, and you got my attention at least for the next 6 or 7 minutes. So again, bring me in there with a story, all right? It's about a story. That's the best way to get pathos. Sure, you can use tone and adjectives, but use that story and you'll connect super fast. It's honestly a crucial component of any great speech.
One more?
Yeah, one more. These are too good.
Tim says, I lost my 19-year-old son this year. Didn't care to go on anymore, but picked myself up and started a new business giving young people like my son a way to start their careers.
Jesus, wow. Okay. Man, look at you. I'm emotional right now. You got me. Honestly, you got me. I want to listen to the next 10 minutes of what you're going to do. This is really big stuff, and I think you all really understand what I'm talking about here. And if you're watching and didn't type something in there, if those moments didn't affect you, I don't know what would, because that's how you build a movement, a TED Talk, a business, a mission, because you're now part of that business. If that's what I knew you were all about, then that would be something we're going to talk about. And I'm going to talk about Simon Sinek later in his concept of start with why, but if that's your why, I'm interested and I'm in. So great stuff. All right, I want to go back to point number 2, the second pillar. And again, Aristotle structured all this stuff over 2,000 years ago. And I have to say, I think the man is right. So let's jump in to part 2 here, all right? And that is this concept of ethos. Ethos is crucial. You cannot rely on pathos alone. And ethos is, does the audience respect you? Do you have the credibility, or can you build the credibility in their mind to deliver that message? And this is a slightly nuanced, but a very, very important point. Now, how can you build ethos? Well, you could talk about your expertise. You could use terminology like carbon fossil fuels burning, creating a global warming effect. Maybe that would do it. You could dress different. If you saw my TED Talk, I wore a suit. That was intentional. I didn't wear a tie. That was intentional. I wanted to show that I was banker-ish and I was taking this serious, but I wasn't so out of touch with the audience. That can do it to a certain extent. Or you can have a title like a doctor, or you could have some like a CV or a background, or I recently had Gavin Schmidt here, who's the director of the NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies. That's another way to show someone that you have credibility. But it's very important that you are the right person talking about this message. Great example are some of the instant inspire moments I just heard of. Now, if you were talking about young men that had died when they were 19, I might listen. But if it was your son, I'm really listening. If you're talking about young people struggling with drugs, I might listen. If you talk about your own drug addiction problems, I'm really listening, because it qualifies you to give that message. Again, let me say that again. It qualifies you to give the message. It has to be the right message given by the right person. Again, anyone could have given my TED Talk, but without it being Brian Rose, who had lived those experiences, it doesn't mean much to you. It has no credibility. Let's look at some other examples of this. And I'm going to go to the London Real catalog for this one. And the first one that comes to mind is the man I both love and hate. Some of you might know him. His name is Dan Pena. And he is a high-performance coach, and he calls himself the $50 billion man. And Dan is quick to let you know that he is an officer in the Army, a former oil man, a former Wall Streeter who gave it all up, and has spent the last 20 years as a high-performance coach, getting people across the goal line to the tune of creating $50 billion in net worth because of his training. Now, if that isn't ethos, I don't know what is, all right? Because even his name talks about all the value he's created. So when he starts talking, you already know, okay, this guy's done a lot of things. He's amassed a certain amount of net worth for the people he teaches. So when he says something, you listen. And that is an excellent example of ethos. He also goes on to say that he's mentored the sitting governor of Florida, which is true, the CEO of the aluminum company Alcoa, which is true, and he's also mentored Brian Rose of London Real. Again, massive credibility goes to Dan, and it builds up his ethos. So when Dan tells you fear is exactly that, false expectations appearing real, you listen to him because you know that he's told this to countless people before, and he's created billions and billions of dollars worth of net worth. So that's very important to think about. That's what ethos is. And you can start thinking about your own ethos, but I want to get to that in just a second. Going back through the catalog, let's go to another London Real great, which is Ido Portal. Ido is a movement expert. But what gives him his ethos? Well, he tells you about his history. He spent his early years mastering capoeira, the Brazilian Caribbean dance martial art. After that, he traveled the world. He learned fitness, breathing, martial arts. He trained in every single discipline in every single continent, and he walks you all through that. Next, he tells you that he trains Conor McGregor, one of the most elite mixed martial artists and boxers in the world. Again, gives him the credibility to give him ethos. So now, when Ido tells you to crawl on the floor like a lizard, you do it because he's built up the ethos. If some other personal trainer told you to do it, you probably wouldn't do it because he's built that ethos and told you who he is. It's a very good example of that. And finally, I want to call on Mr. Dorian Yates. Now, Dorian, as you might know, is a 6-time Mr. Olympia, which means he spent the majority of his life building muscle mass, creating this amazing structure of a human being. And by doing so, he became very, very knowledgeable in these arts. And so that means when Dorian goes to talk about something like steroids and aging, people listen to him. Now, why? They could easily listen to a doctor at Harvard that would say, well, we ran the numbers and the studies show that if we inject a certain amount of testosterone in this guy and he lifts this weight, then this happens. But the problem is that nobody wants to hear it from the doctor. They want to hear it from someone who lived it and breathed it and actually did the work. And so when Dorian talks about steroids and aging on my show, that video has been watched over 1.3 million times. And the reason is because Dorian has demonstrated ethos and people are willing to listen because he's walked the walk and now is talking the talk. And that is an extreme example of ethos. If I had gone on about steroids or someone else, no one would care. And I would argue it's probably the most watched video when it comes to someone talking about steroids and aging. And that is an excellent example of ethos. And so I want you to tell me, why are you the right person to talk about your idea for your speech? How can you demonstrate that you are the person to talk about? And can you write it down in one sentence in the chat? So go ahead and try to do that right now. Now, some of you have done that by saying, I went through these experiences. But if you can, expand on it even more. And if you want to go and do something at work or with a client, or say you want to say something about veganism, show me that you're the one that can walk me through this journey. And again, without ethos, you do not have a speech that will convince, because you might have pathos and you might have the next element I'm going to talk about, but without people knowing that you have the credibility, that you can speak on this with authority, then everything falls apart. And again, if you think about any one of my guests on London Real giving you that message, it works because that's the person telling you that message. Look at the background, look at the books they read, look at the battle scars, look at the companies, look at the failures, the bankruptcies, all of that is rolled into there. Look at the championship fights from Chris Eubank, look at the KOs from Dan Hardy. So when he talks about MMA, you listen. That's all based on ethos. So go ahead and type that in right now and tell me, why are you the right person to talk about this idea? It's a simple yet also complex concept. And while you're doing that, I want to play for you this clip of Dorian Yates talking about steroids and aging. And I want you to just kind of watch him and get a feel for how he establishes himself as the authority on this topic. And he doesn't even need to drop a lot of things on his CV, but you can tell by the way he talks about it that he is the most knowledgeable guy in the room.
If I wasn't a professional bodybuilder, I would, if I had not continued with my professional bodybuilding career at that point, that critical point where I went to Night of Champions, I wouldn't have taken steroids after. I would have stopped.
Right.
You know? And also there's a psychological side to it, a psychological addiction perhaps to steroids. It may be more than psychological, maybe it's slightly physical as well. But a lot of people get into this sport because of insecurity, because they don't feel good, and then they want to build up, to feel stronger, to feel more powerful. And, steroids will allow you to take that to the next level, So if your whole importance of self is built up in how big and muscular you are, you're never going to want to stop taking those steroids, because you're going to lose that when you can't, it's not, you can't keep that level of development when you stop taking those hormones. You will come down to a degree. So, and there's going to be a crash. There's going to be a physical crash. There's going to be a mental crash. All those things you need to, before you step on that merry-go-round, you need to think about those things.
Did you stop right away in 97? Did you scale back? I mean, do you think...
You know what I did? Like my normal, typical approach is black and white. So I actually just pretty much stopped, which was not the wisest decision.
Right.
My testosterone levels were very low. I was still married at the time, and we were thinking about to try for another child. And my sperm levels were nearly non-existent. After 18 months, 2 years, my daughter was conceived. So things were coming back to normal.
Okay.
But I was 36, 37, and my testosterone did not come back in the normal healthy range. It was suppressed. It was somewhat under. So at that point, I decided to take testosterone replacement, which if I hadn't taken steroids, maybe I wouldn't have had to take that, or maybe it would have been later or so on. So, there was some long-term implications in that it shut down my own production.
1.3 million views. That doesn't lie. That means that people are drawn to that message given by that man. And now I want to find out, why is your message need to be given by you? So let's go to the tapes here and find out, why are they the person to talk about this? And I'm also curious, are people understanding this concept? Because again, it's simple, but it can be a little complex sometimes as well.
No, people are absolutely getting this idea.
Okay.
Let's start with Jackie. They're saying in 2010, I was medically released from the military with severe PTSD. I suffered with the symptoms and wrote a book to help others come beyond their struggles with PTSD symptoms and feeling whole again after any trauma.
See, that's a perfect example. Now, if it had been a Harvard professor, or if it had been some expert on PTSD telling me these things, I mean, it would be interesting, but it would only go so far. But to know that you've walked the walk, it makes it a huge difference, and it makes me already want to hear your version of the story. So yeah, that's a perfect example of ethos.
Jude, who was looking to convince people to become vegan, says, I started my working life in farming, and I did and saw bad things to animals that I now am so sorry about.
Okay, good. Now, Jude, I'm curious, did you used to eat meat and eat dairy and eat eggs and buy leather products? Because I think if you did, it's time to get vulnerable about that and talk about that. Again, back to James, who was here in the studio this week, he said, I used to be that guy, Brian. I was still eating ice cream, even though I was telling people I was vegan, and I felt horrible and I felt lousy. And it wasn't until I decided to do my vow of silence that I gave it up. Now that tells me that he was also someone that struggled with it, and it gives him more credibility from an ethos standpoint. So again, dive in and get as open as you can and tell me a real story about who you are, and I'll buy into it even more. So that would be great. And then also talk about what you saw and how it gave you a different perspective from, say, other people in the industry or other people sharing a similar stage as you. If I know that you were there splitting the head open in the animal killing zone, and you saw it and the blood came on you and it changed you forever, I might listen to you before I listen to, Dr. Michael Greger, who knows all the facts about it. So again, establish your ethos and establish it with authority in order to get your point across.
Ian says, as an elite professional rugby player, I nearly died playing the game I loved with my identity completely shattered when having a cardiac arrest at the age of 26. But I've changed my life, building a successful sports psychology career and doing my PhD in career transitions to change people's lives.
We have like 20 TED Talks here, okay? So like seriously, these are all TED Talk starts. These are better than some TED Talk starts that I've seen. So like, I don't know, this is on fire, everybody here tonight in this masterclass. I've never seen anything like this, but all of these are huge hooks. I'm interested. Yeah, this is perfect. And this really pulls me into why you are the one to talk about it. I want to hear more about this story. So it's actually a great combination of pathos and ethos in the same opening statement. And I want to get into, of course, the third thing later. If you put that in, you have a winner here. You've got a TED Talk that's got 100,000 views, and that's a complete game changer in your life, in your business, in everything. So yeah, wow, really powerful. What else?
Twan says, doctors told me I could never run again because of crippling back injuries. 7 years ago, and now I run marathons again and give yoga and running lessons barefoot on the beach.
Wow, again, like, yeah, very powerful. If you've actually done the work and done something that someone says cannot be done, it just instantly gives you the credibility. And so I'm willing to listen to you. And again, going back to London Real guests like Anita Morjani, who came back from battling cancer, or Dean Karnazes, who runs 200 and 250 miles at a time, I listen to him when it comes to the benefits of running, more so than someone else who's just done the science or who just has an emotional story. A lot of people can tell an emotional story that doesn't have anything to do with them. That's pathos without ethos. So again, a perfect way to combine both of those. Yeah.
Here's another one. Everyone
Yes.
loves a weight loss transformation one. Natalia is saying, 8 years ago, I struggled with my weight. I lost 45 kilograms and maintained my healthy weight to this day.
Okay, yeah, again, great example. Great foundation for a business if you want, or just get people's attention. And again, a great way to magnify that ethos. What I would do if this was a TED Talk was to show that picture or to show something that was a consequence of that, and you can even demonstrate it in a better way. So these are all fantastic versions of ethos. I think people have got it, all right? So I'm going into the final pillar. And again, without this final pillar, you do not have a speech that will inspire. You just don't. And a lot of people try to get by on pathos and ethos, but without this final one, it will not stand up. Literally, it's like a two-legged table. It will fall over. You need these three pillars. And if you go to any great speech, there is this final element there, and let's talk about it now. It is logos. Now, what is this crazy Latin word you talk of, Brian? Well, logos is when you use logic or reason to make your point, to make your argument, all right? And this is a completely different angle than the other two. Before, we were invoking emotions. I was telling you this story and constructing this alternate reality. I was telling you about a banker on a mountain and how evil he was, and then he was redeemed and fought back for all the bad things he did. Now, that's a cool story, okay? And I was telling you about my experiences that gave it credibility. Okay, that's great, but I still need you to give me some reason, because we have a left and a right brain, and half of our brain, we want to know that there's some logic and there's some reasons, because as humans, we like to be proud of that we're not just emotional beings. And so unless you address this part of your argument, then it will never hold weight to move people, to really get them to take action on what you say, which is what we want to do here. We really want people to get up and to do what you want them to do. That is a successful speech. Get Caden to eat that broccoli. Get that promotion. Get the client to say yes. Get the TED Talk to go viral so you'll be asked to speak at universities, asked to have better guests. That's what we want. Action, folks. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this. What does logos look like? Well, it could be evidence like facts, statistics, historical examples, quotes, anything that walks someone through some logic or some reason. And it can be granular and scientific, or it can just be some logical statements that get someone from A to B to C. So again, just recognize it as logos. And this is going to be hard for a lot of people who aren't used to it, because a lot of people, they get scared by facts and numbers, and they say, well, I'm not scientific and I'm not qualified. I'm not a Harvard professor, and those people sound smarter than me, but it's actually much easier than you think. And with Google, it makes it simple. Back in the day, 25 years ago, you'd have to go to the library, look up all the science journals, find that study, make sure it was accredited, etc. These days, all you have to do is Google it, and bam, you're going to have some logos that can support your argument. And let's look at my TED Talk and let's dive into some logos. Because to be honest, when I started my talk, I didn't have the logos. I had the pathos. I had a great story about the banker turned broadcaster, right? Everybody wants that guy to win. Next, I had the ethos. I did the work. I was the greedy banker. Then I built London Real over 3 years. I had really hard times. Nobody would like my Facebook page. Joe Rogan wouldn't reply to my emails. I really did the work. That was my ethos. But I didn't really have any logos. I didn't know what to do. So I really had to go down there and do my research. And the first thing that came to mind was the author Stephen Pressfield. And he wrote a book called The War of Art. And in that book, he has a concept called resistance. And resistance is anything that prevents you from accomplishing something great. And here's the other part. Resistance is directly proportional to the size of the accomplishment that you want to go after. And so the bigger the thing, the more resistance you'll get. And it comes from everywhere. It can come from the weather. It can come from wives and husbands. It can come from the stock market. It can come from public transport. It can come from you break a leg before you're supposed to do a performance or a great speech. That's all resistance. And I talked about this concept in my speech, and it went over amazingly. But that wasn't enough. I wanted to go in a little bit deeper, and I had a quote that said, research is procrastination in disguise. So I said to everybody, stop reading books, stop listening to podcasts, because that's just you being fearful for what you don't know to be true. And at that point, I was quoting Dan Pena, and everyone loved that logic. Again, research is procrastination in disguise. And people love that reasoning as far as how they have to take action. And these worked brilliantly for me to just get some logos in with my pathos and my ethos. And let me give you a couple great examples. Simon Sinek has the most watched TED Talk of all time. It's called Start With Why. And in it, he talks about this concept that all great companies and movements and speakers and things like London Real, they start with their why. Yes, they have a how and a what. What do we do? Well, I publish videos on YouTube every week. How do I do it? I interview them here in my studio. But my why, I want to change the world. I want to enlighten people. I want to empower them. I want to transform them. And he believes all great movements start with why. And he gives an example of Apple Computer. We buy iPhones and iMacs because of their why. They want to change the world. They want to fight the status quo. Why do we buy from them as opposed to Dell Computer or IBM or these boring tech companies? Because we love their vision. He goes on to talk about the Wright brothers. And they were two brothers that wanted to be the first to fly. But there were other people that had more money and more backing and more resources, but they didn't make it because the Wright brothers had the right why. And he finishes by talking about Martin Luther King and his walk on Washington and how he got hundreds of thousands of people to show up before there was an internet. And he quotes this historical reference in events that happened, all to build his argument of start with why. And these are three crucial pieces of logos that I would argue without them, Simon doesn't have a great TED Talk. It gets 100,000 views. But when he starts dropping Martin Luther King and Apple and the Wright brothers in there, it really blows up because you see that there's some real thought behind what he's talking about. There's some logic and there's some reason. So if you can start incorporating this into your speech, you're going to have a winner. You're going to convince your boss, your client, the people watching you on stage, your kids to eat broccoli. You got to have some logos there. And I'll make you a broccoli reference recently. And again, final example, when I go on stage in front of our live events in London, 150 people out there, and I get up and I'm going to have to convince them to get out of their chairs. They've never met before. They've never met me before. And I have to get them to jump up and down and yell and do all these crazy things when I get them to do the Elliott Hulse active meditation. I have to have some logos. And so what I say is, you know, as humans these days, we don't express ourselves with our body and with our voices. We're always very quiet and we try to say the right things. And so that's why we're screaming at the top of our lungs. That's why we're jumping up and down with our arms, because we're grounding the energy from our body down into the ground. That's why we're doing this tonight. That's logos. That's me using reason and logic to get them to do something. And guess what happens? They all do it. Now, of course, I throw in a little bit of pathos because I get him emotionally invested with Elliott and his message. And I throw in some ethos because I've interviewed Elliott and I've done it with him and I know how to do this stuff. And bam, I can get 150 people up in the auditorium bouncing around looking like absolute crazy people. This stuff really works. And so make sure you find out what your logos is. And a great example that you'll see of this in business is you might hear a company say, oh, the average protein bar contains 25% protein, ours has 42%. Or maybe you pitch your boss and say, the last 6 months I've been in this department, sales have risen by 40%. Give me that promotion. Great example of logos. Or finally, you could be a public speaking person teaching about public speaking, and you could say, look, the studies show that between 30 and 60 seconds, most of the anxiety happens when you go and give a speech. After that, everything calms down. So practice the first 60 seconds and you will have a winning talk. Again, a great little piece of logos that helps convince me that you know what you're talking about and gets me to take action. So now I want you to think, what are those statistics, those facts, those logos that you can put in to this speech that we've got cooking up here? You've already got the pathos, you got the ethos, the logos. What is it that you can put in there? And if you can't find it right now on Google, tell me what it would be if you could find it. Does that make sense? If it's a vegan quote, go ahead and put it in there as if you could write it yourself. If it's something about PTSD or something about losing weight or something about statistics of young people who lose their lives, put that logos in there and just write it out as if you wish it could be true and see how we can incorporate it into your argument here. And while you do that, and please type these in because I want to go to Julian next, I want you to watch one of my recent guests, Dr. Michael Greger, and he is talking about a plant-based diet and how it can be used not to kill yourself. And he goes ahead and drops in a study about how heart disease can be reversed. And watch how he just drops this in with his argument. And by the end of it, it only takes about 30 or 40 seconds. You already are on his side because he dropped the logos in. And again, he didn't do the study. All he did was Google it and put it into his argument. So watch this now.
So The Lancet, probably the most prestigious medical journal in the world, published here in the UK, July 23rd, 1990. Published Dr. Dean Ornish's lifestyle heart trial. I mean, that was really the landmark trial that proved for the first time ever, using something called quantitative angiography, that indeed heart disease could be reversed. Arteries opened up without drugs, without surgery, just a plant-based diet and lifestyle program. Since that day, no one else should have died in this or any other country from heart disease. We had the cure, yet hundreds of thousands of people continue to die from this preventable, arrestable, reversible condition.
So even if you don't know what your piece of logos is, go ahead and type in what it would be if you did have it. And again, if you have something about PTSD, put in a statistic about that. Something about, did you know that people between the ages of 25 and 35, 80% of them will suffer from obesity in their life. I did too, and I lost 45 pounds. This is why you should listen to me. Great example. PTSD example. People dying young example. Alcohol addiction example. Vegan example. Did you realize that, what was it? James was telling me today that over 3 billion animals lose their life every week just in the support of what you eating, for what you eat tastes good. That's what he said. 3 billion lives lost every week. Wow, that's a piece of logos that's in my brain. And finally, while you're typing in your logos right now, because I'm going to go to the tapes, here's what I'll tell Caden. I'll say, Caden, broccoli's been shown that it has vitamin D, and vitamin D makes your muscles really strong and your bones super healthy. And it's shown to make boys like you grow up even twice as tall than you currently are. Now that's a little piece of logos I could throw in there, or I could tell him that it would make him sleep better, or I could tell him that it shows that if the boys eat that, then they get dessert. Anything you can put in there that just has a logic or reasoning component is going to be the third pillar, and it's going to make your speech win. So let me go to the tapes and see. This is by far the hardest element to get your head around, but once you put it into your talks, you'll find that they go on fire. Because I think most people can feel the pathos, maybe they got the ethos, but I would say the majority of people never put logos into their speeches because it feels complicated or they feel like a scientist. What are people saying here?
We do have some stats coming through here.
All right.
So let's look at that vegan argument. Jude is saying an acre of land would feed 17 people with vegetables, but only 1 with meat.
Perfect. I mean, that's really good. If you can get someone to visualize that and just see all the ways that could happen, all of a sudden, it makes you sound intelligent, makes you sound well-researched, and I like it. Drop that in with a few other pieces of logos and make sure it's part of your coherent argument, and you have a winner there.
And Jackie, who was talking about PTSD, said that veterans with PTSD were 3 times more likely to report feeling helplessness and suicide ideations than those who did not have PTSD, and that suicide in Canada amongst soldiers claimed more lives than those who actually killed in combat during 2002 to 2014.
Wow, like that's a huge stat. I mean, just by dropping those numbers, you tell me to really look at that problem differently. So more people died afterwards because of suicide than they did in actual combat. So that's a real killer. And that makes me really concerned and makes me think that you might know what you're talking about. So super important. That's a perfect example of logos. And if you're out there, incorporate something like that into your argument, and that's going to be a win.
We got Catherine here saying 220,000 people died from FDA-approved drugs in 2 years, 0 from using pure essential oils.
Look, that's a big one, and I've heard this even quoted by Dr. Greger, and he said, Brian, legal drugs alone are killing hundreds of thousands of people a year. And it's just like, these are all the drugs that you know, all the supplements to keep us off a bad diet. He's like, why wouldn't you start eating a plant-based diet and do this and do that? So again, great stats to throw out there. And again, folks, these are easy to find. If you Google your topic, what kind of things you want to find, you'll find that there's all sorts of studies, there's comments on those studies, and you can really put out that logos.
Koala says, I have developed my team, met 80 to 85% of targets in 10 months, worked on multiple new reports. New clients are all on board. I believe I deserve promotion.
Okay, good. So that's her putting logos into your argument, and that's super important because a lot of times people will go to the boss. First of all, they'll make it about them. I deserve this because I. Show them what's in their interest. And again, give them the stats, really important. So I like that 18 months target growth in the sales. Just give them some stats that show that you've actually done the numbers. It's really hard to argue with big numbers like that, so I love it.
One more, Grace, who was talking about diabetes. We haven't actually got a number here, but it is a big eye-opening fact. She says people are losing limbs by not controlling their diabetes, or even losing their life through it.
Yeah. Okay. Look, I think you can expand on that a little more and go a little hard on logos. But again, it doesn't always have to require a number or a stat or a percentage. Because in my speech, I talked about quoting others and walking people through processes. But that one there, I think, would scream out. Like you could say 50,000 feet are lost every year in America because of diabetes. It's like, oh my God, I got to look at that many feet. That really says a lot right there. So again, go a little bit deeper and make that logos really convince people. All right, so those are the 3 pillars of a great speech. But without putting them together, they're going to be just that, 3 vacant pillars with nothing on top. And so you have to put them all together in a structure. You have to really tell that story. You have to put things in the right place. You have to put humor in there. You have to put tonality, body language. You have to get people on your side. You have to have the confidence to deliver it. And of course, you have to do the preparation and do the work. I spent 8 weeks of military training to put my speech together. So I'm not saying it's just as simple as the 3 pillars, but if you look at any great speech, from Martin Luther King to John F. Kennedy to President Obama to even President Trump, these great speeches will have these 3 elements or they won't hold up. Someone giving a logos-based only speech just sounds like a scientist running the numbers. Someone giving an ethos-based speech just like sounds like someone like your parents. Listen to me because I'm your parents. It falls through. Someone telling you a pathos-only based story makes them feel like, oh, all you're doing is telling them a flowery story. You're an author or like a movie director that just tells them something. They need all 3 parts to buy into what you say and then do this. Get you to do what you want them to do. And that's the final thing, a call to action. And when you get people to take action, that means your speech worked. And so that's why with my TED Talk, when I started seeing reels, which is different podcasts started in different cities all around the world, Vancouver reel and LA reel and Dublin reel, on the back of this talk, I got even more reels. I knew that people were actually doing my call to action and picking up the baton and going out there for themselves. And so when you put yours together in the right way, you are going to have something that will move people, that will start a movement, that will get you promoted, that'll get the kids to eat the broccoli, and you'll start structuring this in all parts of your life. Because to be honest, you are potentially speaking to inspire 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All the world is a stage, as Shakespeare would say. And this is your time to pull the trigger and take advantage and put yourself out there. How many great ideas have you heard tonight? But how many of those people are going to step up to the stage and actually deliver it? Very, very, very few, because it's hard to take action in this world. And that's why people have been asking me for the past 3 years to finally teach what I learned on that TED Talk, to teach what I learned from some of the greatest speakers in the world right here in the studio, to teach what I did last Friday when I gave a commencement speech for Westminster Kingsway College to 250 graduating students and more of their parents. I was there on a podium, and I'll be honest, I was wondering, oh my gosh, 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been anywhere near this podium, but I taught myself to do it. And so that's why, after people bothering me for years and years, we finally decided to take all of our thoughts, all of our knowledge when it comes to speaking to inspire, whether it's on the stage or in the boardroom or with clients or just in a social situation where people listen to you. Haven't you ever wanted to be that person that can tell that story? I always wanted to be that person in high school, and I never was. Now I am. And we're teaching all of this in our new Speak to Inspire 6-week boot camp. It's an accountability course and something that only London Real offers. And so this is if you want to win clients for your business, if you want to earn that promotion, if you want to inspire thousands on stage in a different way than you're doing right now, this is what it's all about. It's based on my TED Talk that's been watched by over 280,000 people. This thing scaled because it was constructed and executed professionally. And now I'm going to teach you how to do it. I'm going to show you the roadmap. I've constructed a blueprint, and I'm going to be there to personally mentor you every single step of the way. And we perfected this process inside London Real Academy over the past 2 years. We've taught people how to accelerate their business, how to accelerate their lives, how to broadcast themselves with their own podcasts. Now we're teaching people how to speak to inspire, and we have the results that speak for themselves because all of our students, they do the work and we bring them along kicking and screaming if necessary, because this is an online accountability course. And it's all about us teaching you what it takes to speak to inspire, to speak with persuasion and influence, and get people to take action. That's the big thing. A lot of people talk and people say a good speech and they go home. Who actually goes out there and does the work? I'm guessing my guests here in the studio have gotten you to do something. Maybe Ido Portal got you to move. Maybe Dan Pena got you to stop making excuses. Maybe Dorian Yates got you to see the world in a different way or do that leg workout that he put me through. All of these people speak to inspire, and that's what I'm offering you, a chance to spend 6 weeks with me, and I will teach you everything I've learned from these guests. And when the cameras are off, I start digging in and asking them questions. How do you do this? How do you say this? And some do it from the stage, and some do it sitting in that chair. How powerful is Dorian Yates when he's talking to you about steroids and aging? 1 million views powerful. And it doesn't have to always be on the stage, and that's the biggest mistake that some people make. And so that's what this course is all about. But I'll warn you, it takes work to be excellent. It takes dedication to be high performance. And it takes real planning and real mentorship to create a TED Talk that's going to be watched hundreds of thousands of times, to create a team that you can lead into battle, or to get that promotion or win that client. It takes work. But if you're willing to put in the work, I am going to be with you every single step of the way. And we do this over 6 weeks, and we've got an incredible way of doing it. So let me show you what it's all about. There are 6 modules. Each week, I go through a different concept when it comes to Speak to Inspire. You have lifetime access to all of this training, so you can pick it up in 5 years and 10 years and revisit it. I ask my students to always revisit my courses every 6 months to a year because you'll get something new out of them. And you get a workbook with every single one of those modules. And let's go into them. Module 1, this is the first week, which will happen in about 10 days. And this is Discover Your Inspirational Message. First, I'm going to walk you through the London Real 5 Commandments of Great Speaking. I'm going to show you how to inspire your first 1,000 true fans. And then I'm going to show you my personal process for eliminating nervousness completely. Then I'm going to show you the proven confidence on command technique. And of course, I'm going to show you how to overcome your fears and to absolutely crush it on stage. That's module 1. Let's talk about module 2. This is the second week, and this is crafting your message for maximum impact. In this module, I'm going to show you the proven methods for crafting your ideas into well-structured speeches. Next, I'm going to show you the #1 best way to structure your talk to be like the most influential speakers in the world. Next, I'm going to show you how to use a bulletproof action to make people do what you want to do without forcing it. And of course, then I'm going to show you pro-level language tips that make you a more effective communicator. And we're going to wrap it up showing you how to deliver an effective call to action at the end of your speech. And let's face it, folks, without a call to action, nothing just happened. Get them to act on what you say. That's what makes a great speaker, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do. Week 3, Module 3, I show you charismatic storytelling techniques. This is crucial, folks. Going back to pathos, this is what it's all about. You're going to learn the fundamental difference between bad storytelling and great storytelling. How to be authentic from a place that feels easy and natural. And of course, the power of using a hero's journey to amplify the effect on your stories. I used a huge hero's journey in my TED Talk. I'm going to show you how to deliver captivating stories that draw people's attention instantly. And of course, I'm going to finish with one simple way to express what's on your mind without hesitation. All right, now you're halfway through the course. You're feeling great. You find yourself speaking to inspire in front of colleagues, friends, and family, but we're not done yet. Week 4, it gets really interesting. Now you're going to bulletproof your credibility. Yes, folks, you guessed it. Ethos is in the house. I'm going to show you how to uncover the juicy, hidden facts about your topic that completely stun your listeners. Then I'm going to give you something called the Instant Inspire Moment. We touched on it briefly, but I'm going to go deeper so you can access it whenever you want. And finally, I'm going to show you an effective method for using statistics, quotes, and testimonials from other experts. Yes, we're going to incorporate logos in week 4. Week 5, it gets even more interesting. This is secrets to authentic delivery on stage. Let's face it, folks, sooner or later, you might find yourself on stage. It could be that corporate retreat. It could be your kid's career day, or you might be drawn to the stage. You might want to do that TED Talk. I've seen 20 TED Talk ideas tonight. I'm telling you, there's a lot of potential in this group. Module 5 is secrets to authentic delivery on stage. Here you're going to learn how to master your body language to be stage ready under the spotlight. Next, we're going to show you the audience restoration method to jolt the room alive even when the energy is low. I've been in those rooms. It can be hard, but I'll show you the technique I use, and it works every single time. Next, how to speak with strong vocal tonality in the right moments. Of course, I'm going to show you effective techniques for getting out of your head to stop overthinking it, a huge problem most people have. And finally, how to recover from an embarrassing mess up by performing what I call a neuralizer. And that all comes in week 5. And we're not done. The final week of this course, when you're going to be rounding out the term, feeling super confident, talking more than you used to. You might have that promotion already, probably landed a few clients. Your kids are eating as much broccoli as you can cook. It's going well, and we're going to finish it in week 6. And this is Persuasion Frameworks to Influence the Masses. Now we're going to take your message and scale it. Thousands, tens of thousands, maybe 1 million people. Why not? Here I'm going to show you, again, we're going to go deeper into Aristotle's world-famous persuasion framework for inspiring the masses, but this is version 2.0. We go deeper. Next, I'm going to show you 4 big ideas you can use to deliver an award-winning speech to any audience, cold, warm, hot. I'm going to show you how to do it. Next, how to use the chameleon effect so everyone in the audience connects with your message. This is an amazing technique. Lots of people use it on you. You just don't know that they are. Next, I'm going to show you advanced positioning secrets used by top-level speakers to stand out from the crowd like Tony Robbins, Dan Pena, etc. And finally, we're going to wrap up with proven techniques based on psychology to create a swell of inspiration from your listeners. This is all about scaling your message. But folks, this is not just about these video modules I'm going to teach you. It's not just about those workbooks. What we really offer, our hidden secret here at London Real, is the community. You are going to connect with all sorts of people around the world that want to speak to inspire. People in your industry, people that will inspire you, people that you can collaborate with. And all of you are going together as a group. And I know it sounds strange. It's like a Navy SEAL team. It's like we're all going together as a platoon. We're going to bleed, we're going to sweat, we're going to fail, and we're all going to win together. And that's what's different about this course. You're going to be uploading your videos. You're going to see everybody around the world doing the same. You're going to get inspired. You're going to get ideas. And this is the real value because you're going to be with like-minded people that want to crush it, not like your current peer group that probably says, no, don't take that course. Maybe next year. Everything's going to be okay. I'd rather you not become a TED speaker. A lot of people don't want you to get better. We want you to crush it. These are like-minded people that will end up being your friends, colleagues, maybe business partners for life. And I've had people tell me the network alone is worth the price of the course. But it doesn't stop there. Accountability is what we are known around the world for. And that's because of this. When you take this course, it's not just videos I send to you. I will be there every step of the way, calling roll on my live calls, making sure you do the work, making sure you get across the goal line. If I have to drag you kicking and screaming, you will speak to inspire. You will get that promotion. You will land that client. You will get on stage if that's what you want, and we'll make sure we craft your message and it gets done, because this is real accountability. We talk to each other with a special Zoom call software, which I might show you later. And again, it's a completely collaborative arrangement, and that's what it's all about. So we have a triple tier real accountability framework. It's 12 live interactive calls. You get to see me at home from the headquarters talking to you. There's a private Facebook group where it gets very real. Lots of assignments, lots of work to get you up the curve. And of course, there's 24/7 email support from me and my team. We get back to any question you have. I've graduated more than 500 people in this framework, and they come out completely different people. You honestly won't recognize the person you are 6 weeks from now. Your friends and family will say, "What happened? What did you do? Did you lose weight?" No, I'm speaking to Inspire for the first time in my life. That's what we're going to do here. So you've heard about the triple tier real accountability. That's the framework we put in place, and that is really what we do here. But don't take my word from it. Here are a few testimonials from some of our graduates.
Whilst I knew that it was kind of on the list of things to do in the given week, there was a message that came out that said, right, you've got 3 hours to do it before a call, otherwise you're in trouble, sort of thing. So yeah, that was just really forced me into it. Big resistance, overcame it, but yeah, I was just like overwhelmed with the really positive response I had from everybody. So really glad I did it, but it was tough.
It was tough, but it was, no, that was really the reason why I signed up for it, because I knew that it was going to be held accountable. Because, as I say, I could have put a podcast out myself, but 8 weeks ago, if I had not done this, I would not have a podcast. Even though I know how to do it, I wouldn't have done it.
You get vulnerable, you talk about real things, you have to overcome resistance, you have to take ownership. So I think that's the biggest lesson that I learned. I myself, I am responsible for everything that happens in my life, and I hadn't had that before. And I think that that's a really, really big step forward. So yeah, probably I'm not, or I see challenges, or I see fear now as a way to grow.
I honestly recommend this. It's been a great experience. Occasionally it was really tough, to be honest, and like I said, I was tired, and I got almost a little bit mad about you sending those messages, resistance and extreme owners. Like, who is this guy telling me this stuff? But you were right, and I'm glad. Maybe it's because I'm an ex-athlete or a player. Sometimes I need a coach to push me further, so it was good for me. It helped me out a lot. Your messages, you're tough, man. Those messages, but they really did help me out.
And the accountability is going to continue, and that's another thing that I love about this. You know, it's not just, right, 2 months, done, see you later. It's like, no. We're going to keep you accountable. You're not just going to do 6, 8 episodes and then let it slide. You know, you're going to keep publishing. You're going to fulfill the vision that you had for this right at the beginning. So that for me is really important.
If you have any questions about the course or what I've said so far, go ahead and type that in the chat. I'm going to get to them in about 2 or 3 minutes. But I will say this one thing. This course requires some work. You have to put in the hours if you want to become great, if you want to really inspire a movement, if you want to hire a team to build that company. You have to put in the hours. If you want to do a TED Talk that gets hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views, it does require work. But if you're willing to do that, I will meet you at 100%, and I will be there dragging you across the goal line if necessary. 96% of my students graduate, compared with 5% of most people that take some stupid online course. So this is the place to be if you want to get results and you want to take action with me. And of course, the key benefit of what we do is the accountability. Nobody out there watches people do the work. Nobody is out there mentoring them personally along the way. Your success is my success. We are in this for the long run, and I want you to be a beacon telling people about London Real Academy. I want people to see you speaking and ask you, how did you do it? I want you to win, and that's what's going to happen here. You will learn how to speak to inspire with persuasion and influence in 6 weeks, point blank. and that's what we're going to do. But I have 3 bonuses tonight. And this is if you pull the trigger, I'm going to give you these 3 bonus offers, and this is very special first. The first one is the Inspirational Speaker Lifestyle Blueprint. It's a $599 value, and this is for you if you want to go on and be an inspirational speaker. Get paid to do commencement speeches like I did last week. Get paid to do corporate retreats. Get paid to go out there and inspire people. And if you want to make that as a supplemental source of income, then this is the perfect bonus for you, because I'm going to show you exactly how to do that and exactly how guests on London Real make careers of this. The second bonus is your next big promotion. I'm going to show you the techniques, the strategies, the wording to get that next big promotion. Of course, it's based on any great speech structure, but it's different with a boss. I've done this so many times, countless times, and we're going to show you exactly how to get that promotion, to get that raise. And finally, the third bonus is called Win More Clients, Make More Money. I'm going to show you how to give that pitch. And a pitch is a very different animal. A lot of times you've got 60 seconds. You've got to start off big, go for the lizard brain, get their attention, get them excited, give them something they can't have, take it away, and then give them an offer that they can't refuse. And we're going to show you how to do that as well. So those are 3 special bonuses if you buy this course tonight. So jump on this. All of those have a value of $599. Those come with the price of the course tonight. And finally, you're asking, Brian, what's the jamage? How much is this? Well, I call this a level of investment in your future. If someone had told me my TED Talk would have costed me $5,000, $10,000, $100,000, I would have paid for that training, because it's brought in over $1 million of revenue so far. That TED Talk will continue making money for the rest of my life. And so the investment in this course is that exactly. It's an investment. The basic plan for a 6-week program is $1,997. In my opinion, that is a fraction of the worth. This will change your game. A simple promotion could easily make that back, not to mention a speech that's going to influence you and get you paid as someone who speaks, or just start your company and get it on track. So that is the investment for this course. And yes, I've listened to a lot of you out there who don't have that much money. And so I am now offering a 12-month payment plan of $197 each month if you need to make it affordable. And that's because I know this course will do amazing things for you, and I don't want the price to keep you out. And what do you get for this? Well, let me tell you about the course. Of course, you get the 6 step-by-step training modules for becoming an influential speaker who inspires like all the great guests on London Real and the people you've seen on the stage. You get 12 hours of live accountability calls. That's one on Tuesday, one on Sunday. I'll answer those questions later. You get your own private speaking mini mastermind group within the course to hold you more accountable and be there to bounce ideas off. You get access to the private Speak to Inspire community that we hold on Facebook and in our Zoom calls. And of course, you get bonus number 1, Inspirational Speaker Lifestyle Blueprint. You get bonus number 2, your next big promotion. And you get bonus number 3, Win More Clients, Make More Money, all for the price of $1,997. This course will fill up soon, and it will be over. We're not doing this again this year, and probably not for another year. This is the time to get my personal mentorship to show you how to speak to inspire. If you pay in full today at $1,997, I'm giving you 2 free bonuses. First of all, you save $367 if you pay in full, and I'm giving you 2 free bonuses. The first is a live video kickoff call with me where I walk you through your blind spots. What are you suffering from? How can we make this course more effective with you? That's a video call with me, bonus number 1. And the second bonus is my special live event I did with Dan Pena. That's Dan Pena live at the Ritz in London. And this is where Dan came out blasting with 30 entrepreneurs that flew in from around the world, and they paid $1,500 each. I should have charged double, but I didn't know any better back then, to watch him blast. And I'm telling you, once you see Dan come out and start firing out to these people, you will be inspired to pull the trigger and get up there and finally speak to inspire. Go for that promotion. You know, inspire that group around you. Go big. And those are 2 of your bonuses for paying in full tonight at $1,997. And I'm getting fired up just thinking about this course. Of course, I also have a premium option where you can be on my team and get a private one-on-one call with me on top of that video call. And of course, with the premium version, you also get your own London Real Studios interview. Like the greats. You can be one of those, like Ido Portal, like Dan Pena, like Dorian Yates. You can sit in the leather opposite me and speak to inspire, a video asset that you can have the rest of your life, for your website, for your website that you'll use to get paid speaking gigs. You can show them your performance on London Real. And that is for the premium program. And of course, I also offer the Inner Circle. And that is for 6 months of private mentoring from me after the course is over. And also entry in to my Inner Circle group of entrepreneurs building 6- and 7-figure businesses all around the world, and of course, speaking to inspire in all of the different ways that they do. So those are the 3 different levels of investment, all incredible bargains. I would jump on that right now. And just for you, for anyone on this call tonight, I'm offering you a very special fireside chat I had with one of the most inspirational speakers I've ever met, the boxer Chris Eubank. And I had this talk with him at our summit meeting. And I had him on stage, and he got up and he danced around and he shot a box, and he talked about his highs and his lows of being a professional boxer, what he learned, talked about his son. I'm telling you, this alone will get you channeled up, fired up to give that big speech. And if you buy before this call is over, I'll throw that in as well. And that's Chris Eubank on Obsession. And finally, to show you how convinced I am that this program will educate you to speak to inspire, whether it means that promotion, that clients, whether it means you want to go on stage or just in a social situation, that I'm offering you a 60-day money-back guarantee. I leave no man or woman left behind in this course. I am so convinced that you will get so much out of this course that it will take you to the next level, that if you show up to the calls and you do the work, and if for any reason you're not 100% satisfied by the end of the course, just ask. You get a full refund. So there's absolutely no risk for you to jump into my Inner Circle, be trained and mentored by me and my team leaders, go through this good stuff, create that speech, get your wins, and if you're not happy, you get your money back. So if you're not pulling the trigger right now, I don't know what's wrong with your head, because that's basically free mentoring from me. But again, I believe in this program so much. We have tested this method at London Real Academy over the last 2 years. It works. It gets results. I've built businesses, podcasts. I've gotten people to change their lives, their relationships, their movement routines because of the accountability, because of my team leaders, and because we are dedicated to doing what we do. And so that's what it's all about, folks. I want to get to your questions now, but I just want to say this. If you've tuned in tonight, you're thinking to yourself, I got to take my game to the next level. I got to change something because I'm doing the same things. I'm not going anywhere. I'm thinking about doing veganism, but I'm never actually pulling the trigger. I want to talk about PTSD, but I haven't really done anything. I want to tell my weight loss story. I want to get that promotion. I want to do a TED Talk too, but it's not going to happen. And here's the truth, folks. A year from now, it's not going to happen either. Unless you take action and pull the trigger and invest in yourself tonight, most likely a year from now, I'll meet you on the streets and I'll say, hey, how'd that go? I got busy. I never got around. The truth is that most people won't actually do something unless they have the accountability and the mentorship and the program to make it happen. I will guarantee you get results or your money back. So this is the time to do it. This is the time to pull the trigger. So there you go. The offer's up there right now. Again, it expires at the end of this call. The bonuses go away. Please join me. I will be closing this class when it's full. Could happen tonight. Could happen tomorrow. I don't know when, but it will be closed, and this won't happen for another year. Julian, what are some of the questions out there? Are people excited to learn how to speak to inspire? I'm pumped up. I can't wait to teach this course. I've been waiting 3 years to tell people about this IP. I love to see people successful on stage and in all aspects of their life. And I truly believe speaking to inspire is the way that you can scale your message more than anything out there. Blogging, vlogging, websites, businesses, speaking is really the ultimate tool.
Well, we've seen it happen here at London Real, haven't we? It was an absolute game changer when you finally did that TED Talk.
Yeah, it was. And honestly, I think it probably had some reason for you joining us, for the team joining us, for guests, for business partnerships. It was all down to those 16 minutes. I call it the most important 16 minutes of my life. I had 150 hours of video uploaded to YouTube before that. This one was the game changer because I spoke to inspire. What are people saying? What can I answer?
Jerry's asking a question here about the payment plan. He's saying, if I want to pay off the course before the 12 months, is that possible?
Yes, that's no problem. If you do want to pay in full, go ahead and you can make those payments. And yeah, we can do that. And we can prorate that $367. So if you pay in 6 months, you'll save half of that. If you pay in 1 month, you can save most of that. So yeah, that's no problem.
Tiki asking, is age a problem? I am over 50.
No, not at all. I mean, I've had people on this course in their 70s, in our courses in the past. I've had people in their teenage years. So the only thing is your mind. Are you willing to put the work in? Are you willing to go to where the fear is? Are you willing to get a little uncomfortable? Are you willing to be successful? That's what it's all about. 50's nothing. I'm almost 50, so yes, you're welcome.
Livy is asking about team leaders that you mentioned there.
Yes, so what we do is we take the class and then we break it into team leaders. And I've got graduates of my programs that have their own entrepreneurial and their own speaking skills. And they take you in a smaller team of 15 to 20 people and you just grow that much faster. So you still have me on 2 live calls per week, but it's an added bonus that we give you. And then you get to work with those teams for 12 months after the course is over to keep you on your speaking game. And it's something that we developed over the last 2 years to just help you take your game to the next level.
Jerry is in.
Jerry, congratulations, welcome. This is gonna change your life, buddy. I'm telling you, you're gonna look back as this kind of like a BC and an AD moment. And you're gonna talk about your life before you started speaking and afterwards. And I'm telling you, you're gonna attract people in your life that are gonna change your game. You will just do better in business, you'll do better socially. This is the ultimate confidence and self-esteem game changer. I'm telling you, better than anything else out there, it is public speaking. So welcome, Jerry, can't wait to get started with you.
Joe's asking about those live calls. What day and time are they each week?
Great question. So the live calls are Tuesday and Sunday at 8:15 London time, all right? So that's when we do it. I would love for you to be there on the call. We use a Zoom live call software where I can talk to you and you can talk to me a little bit better than this. And of course, we record each call and upload it on the private Facebook group that night so you can watch it back if you miss a call. But I would like you there on the calls because I call on you, I ask you for work, I ask you to talk to me, and we get you to speak better. And that's why we're so successful so fast, because you got me for 2 hours every single week in a live scenario, and we're getting you to face the fears, to get across those hurdles, and to get better and better and better. So that is why we use that structure.
Martin's just asking about the payment plan again. Can you just reiterate?
Yeah, so the payment plan, look, the basic program with all of the pieces to get you easily on a TED stage. Easily we can get you on a TED stage in 6 weeks, no problem. To get the promotion, to get that new client, it's 6 weeks and it's $1,997. Now, some people don't have that amount in the bank. And I never used to do this until recently, but we've started to offer a payment plan. So if you want that basic program, it's $197 per month. You can join this program, be in the private Facebook group tonight, and to start networking with your colleagues and starting to speak to inspire in the matter of 10 minutes with $197, which is like 120 pounds. I'm telling you, it doesn't get much better than this for the type of instruction that I'm offering. So again, with that and the money back guarantee, all of you should be joining because it's just a no-brainer if you want to take your game to the next level.
Take is asking, is it possible to take half of the modules first?
Take half the modules first. No, I need you for the 6 weeks. This is like a complete blueprint. I'm trying to get you from point A to point B. And to do that, I need to get you through everything in a specific order. So I really need you to get all 6 weeks. Now, if after 3 weeks you have to go somewhere, you have to do something, you have lifetime access to the modules, to the workbooks, to the private Facebook group, to the recorded live calls. So you can do this later, 3 months from now, 1 year from now, 2 years from now. And I really encourage you to revisit this every year to help you take your public speaking to the next level.
Nico is asking, when does the course start?
Great question. So module 1 goes out this Sunday, right? So very, very soon. The first live call is November 7th, I think, on Tuesday at 8:15. We get started, baby. It's time to rock and roll. Before Christmas, you'll be speaking to Inspire. So this is all about taking action. And again, we don't play around. We get you there. You will be amazed with the results you're having even in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So that's why it happens now. And it only happens now. I close this course when we fill it up and then it's over. We won't be doing this again for another year. This is the opportunity. Don't be the guy or the woman who says, oh yeah, I can't do it now, but maybe later, or maybe now's the right time. The truth is, folks, it's never the right time. You never have the right amount of money. You never have the right amount of spare time. There's always this at work or this at home, blah, blah, blah. Do you have time to be successful? I'm telling you, when I was doing the TED Talk, I was doing 7 other things with my life. With London Real, I was changing my game. I was wearing suits. I was doing all this stuff. The TED Talk was important, and it was the biggest game changer. So this is your potential for this biggest game changer for you.
Patrick has also just joined us, so we'll be on the course there with Jerry.
Awesome. Welcome, Patrick. You and Jerry already get to know each other in the Facebook group. You can get right in, upload your introduction video. I'll be sending you module 1 links, and I've got a mini assignment for you in the meantime. But let's do this, guys. Let's go big. I think everybody joining this course, and this might sound weird to you, should be thinking, no reason I can't be on the TED stage in the next year or 2 if you want to be. And if you don't, that's fine. We can get you there in business or in any other situation, but I'm here to take you to big places.
Another question from Aniko saying, can I do this with a full-time job?
Yes, this requires between 2 and 4 hours per week. A lot of people say, Brian, what's the time requirement? The truth is that time isn't your obstacle. You are. It's your brain. Most people, they resist. They don't want to get uncomfortable. They don't want to upload that video of themselves for that first introduction video or for all of the video speech assignments, because you'll be giving speeches every single week and be getting evaluated. That's what holds them back. It's not the time investment. 2 to 4 hours per week. Stick it in your calendar. I've had people with full-time jobs. I've had single mothers with 3 kids and full-time jobs finish my courses with like the highest ranks. So you have no excuse. You have plenty of time to do this course. We have tons of executives, professionals, single mothers, people with busy lives. I'm busy. I have a day job. It's called London Real. I teach this in my spare time, and I'll be there with you every step of the way.
Tim Burfield also just joined us.
Tim, welcome. Thanks for jumping in. Jump in that Facebook group. Let's get started. Let's do this.
Vicky's got a question. How about those on a different time zone?
Different time zone, that is even perfect. What we do is we have people in 12 or 13 time zones at the same times on our call. It actually enriches the group. So tonight, we got people in Taipei, in Australia, in New York City, in Virginia, in London, all across Europe, South America. Literally, it's 12 to 14 different time zones. It makes our group so strong, so international. It is one of the greatest networks you'll ever see. If for some reason you can't make one of those calls, it's recorded and you can watch it over. But being there on that live experience, I'm telling you, it's 12 calls. Try to make the time for them because it is a game changer. It's almost better than being in person. That's what a lot of our graduates say. They said it's better because they actually get more real and open up to their colleagues and their people inside the group, and they become more real and they become closer to each other. And we have a graduation event in London that's optional. You don't have to come. I believe it's December 16th and 17th, and you can come to London. It's on us. We've got a dinner. We've got a live event. You can speak and give your final speech performance, and you can beam it in live if you're somewhere else. But that's a great time to really meet your network, and I'm telling you, these are the people that will be sharing the TED stage with you. These are the people that will be building great companies. These are the people that will really be integral parts of your future. I'm telling you, the network alone is a reason to join this course.
Geordie says, is it possible for a 17-year-old Dutch young man to benefit from this course? He's working his butt off for his education. He doesn't know what to do next, but this course certainly has his attention.
You know, if I was 17 now, I wish I would take this course because I was busy in a lab. I was, pouring test tubes. And look, knowledge is great. The problem is if you can't scale your message, if you can't convince another human to go along with your beliefs, you're never going to get very far in this world. It'll always just be about you. I did this, I did that, I did this. Any great CEO like Elon Musk or Richard Branson, they know how to speak to inspire. Anybody who's built a startup has to speak to inspire there. Anyone who's built a successful family has to speak to inspire. A student in college, which you're probably going to go to, or an MBA school, you have to talk to other people to get your ideas across. I think this is the single most important investment in your future. Period. And if I knew how to speak to inspire when I was 17, I would have been more successful faster, bar none. I would have been more successful on Wall Street. I would have been more successful on the dot-com startups. I would have been more successful on London Real if I could speak from day one. Imagine if I could have done my TED Talk on day one of London Real. Imagine if I could be speaking to inspire. I would have started the academy sooner. I'm telling you, this is perfect for a 17-year-old, a 15-year-old. I might even get my daughter, who's 13, to take this course. She could learn a lot about it too, because we all speak around other humans. It's just most of us, we don't speak to inspire. We blah, 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 blah. We look down. We don't have complete thoughts. We don't have ethos, logos, and pathos. We don't make an effort, but there's people watching you every day. Your kids, your wife, your husband, your colleagues at work, and they're judging you by someone they shouldn't follow. They shouldn't listen to unless you change it. And that's what this course allows you to do.
Jude, our vegan activist, has just joined us as well.
Jude, welcome. I can't wait to scale your message. Make sure you go to our Facebook feed and watch James Aspey, because he had some great examples of pathos, ethos, and logos in his speech. And I think you can look at him and think, how can I be different and what can I be different? My goal for you is to get you on a TED stage in the next 6 months. All right? Are you willing to take that challenge? Type yes if you are, and let's do this. Why not go big? I have trained many people inside the Academy to give TED Talks, and I might post some of them in the group right when you join. But one of my good friends and one of my mentees, Roger Frampton, which I trained him up to do a TED Talk that got over 1 million views. So we can do this. It's a reality. He got more views than me. So I'm telling you, let's do this. And anybody else who wants to just pull the trigger, who's tired of letting life just pass them by and let that promotion pass them by and let all those things they said they were going to do, this is the time. Take action. Give yourself a present before Christmas. Literally, before Christmas, we can be done. You can be up that curve. I'm telling you, these are fast results and we will get them.
Our 17-year-old Dutchman, Jordy, is asking, what's the price of the course again?
So, Jordy, great question. The basic level investment is $1,997. I think the value you're going to get is easily 10 times that. $20,000 is easily what this course is worth for all the things it's going to open up, all the opportunities. That one business partnership could easily trump that amount. But I realize some people need a payment plan. So we spread that out over 12 months. That's $197 each month. If you pay in full at $1,997, you of course save $367. And of course, I give you the 2 pay in full bonuses. Live video kickoff call with me, where we go deep on your problems. And of course, Dan Pena live at the Ritz, I'm telling you. 6 hours of him blasting. You see my introduction speech. You can start taking notes and channeling some of that $50 billion energy. I'm telling you, we got tons of IP here. I've learned from the greatest people on the planet here in the studio. I've spoken to over 400 of the greatest speakers there is. I'm telling you, I don't think there's anyone else that's been that intimate with that many people to where I can actually learn from them and show you this knowledge. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you're lucky enough to be on this call, pull the trigger and take this course. If after 6 weeks you're not happy, take the refund, but do something tonight.
Rosenbell has done just that and is joining us on the course as well.
Welcome, welcome.
Question here from YouTube. Adrian is asking, are the live calls the same format as this?
So no, the live calls are on this Zoom software. You know, I'm thinking maybe we should jump on a Zoom call right after this so I can actually show you this software if you want to get a sneak peek. So I want to actually play one more video for you and we'll jump on that. But it's called Zoom. It's a great software and it allows me to go ahead and talk to you. I can see you. I can see every member of the course around the world. You can see all of your classmates. You can send messages to them and you can talk. And it's an incredible software and it's something we use in all of our programs. And that's what we're going to be using on this course. So yeah, it's Zoom and it's an amazing piece of work. Yeah, good. Good. I want to show you a short video of some of our graduates. They've been extremely successful. So listen to a few of their comments and then I'll jump on this Zoom call with you and show you the actual software you'll be using to get to the next level.
So how can you build a virtual family and try to fit in? It was amazing. The first live call and I saw all these people. It was so inspiring to think, okay, there's people around the world that want to do exactly the same thing as me. And we're going to be learning this together. We're in this together.
I just saw a lot of people in the course had the same issues. So it was just like, you could see, he's also telling about this and he is having resistance too and he pushed through it too. And why shouldn't I be able to do this?
70 people around the world.
That was phenomenal because from literally strangers to within a couple of weeks, it was 60 plus 70 people and it became like a little family. It was a support network straight away. And I loved being able to connect with people all over the world. They were championing your work from day one.
I have experienced this before in my lifetime. I have been in the corporate world. I have also known what a magic team is like. And the fantastic thing when you get to that point where everybody is helping each other, everybody is holding each other accountable, is that you can do so much more than you ever thought. The result of the work is fantastic.
It was just so warm right at the beginning. It felt like people are really, even though they had their own issues and struggling with maybe the tasks, but everyone, it felt like are really ready to help each other. So it kind of felt pretty much right away as a sort of a family and very close.
I can't tell you how many years that saved me, right? How valuable is that? Time is the one resource we can't yet create more of. So that's really what I got out of this, was years of difficult frustration. I got to learn from your mistakes, right? So hopefully that makes me slightly wiser.
And so there are just a few testimonials from some of our most successful graduates. Again, everybody completes this course. 96% completion rate. I make sure you all get across the goal line, and that's what makes it very, very different than anything else there online. And I just wanted to answer a few common questions I get from people. The first one is, Brian, what if I don't live in London? The answer is good. I don't want you here. I like people from all around the world. They give us new perspectives. They give us new ways of thinking. They give us new pieces of feedback. So we have people in 14 different time zones from all these different countries. So you do not need to be in London. We have an optional graduation, December 16th and 17th. Come join us. We have a live event. You can give your final speech. We'll beam you in from around the world on live video link if you don't want to be here. We have a dinner. We have a walking tour. You can do your interviews here at London Real Studios and sit in the leather chair opposite me. It's all on us. So that's the deal, but you do not have to be in London. Someone else said to me, Brian, what do I do if I don't have the time? I always love this question because I always say, do you have the time to be successful? A lot of people are too busy being busy. Are you one of them? How much time do you spend on Facebook? How much time do you spend doing things that don't matter? I'm asking for 2 to 4 hours per week to change your game, to get you that promotion, to get you that new client, to get you on that stage to where you can be paid to speak or start a movement, start a company, start something. That's what this is all about. So again, how many hours do you have in a day? 24 hours, the same amount of hours that Elon Musk has, and Richard Branson, and Tony Robbins, and all of these people. So again, make the time. Some people say, Brian, I don't have the money. But the truth is, this is an investment in your future. When I started my college degree at MIT, I didn't have the money. It was $14,500 per year. What did I do? Did I walk away? No, I found the money. They actually gave me a payment plan, and I got a government loan, and I made it happen, and that investment has given me a 100 times return. Easily, that degree has been worth millions of dollars for me because it's got me in the door, and it's got me into the best situations possible. This is the same thing. It's an investment. With the payment plan, this is a no-brainer. $197 to start now. Get in the private Facebook group, get Module 1. Boom, you're done. If after 6 weeks you're not completely happy, full refund. It's free. Pull the trigger now. I'm telling you, if you're on this call, you have a special opportunity to take advantage of this. Think of all the people that don't even have this opportunity. I won't do this again for another year. Personal mentorship. This is some serious proprietary information we have, and we're going to walk you through the whole thing. Other people say, Brian, what if I'm an introvert? Join the club. I'm totally introverted. I started off for 3 years on London Real. Watch me. I didn't want to talk. I was a nerd for most of my life. I taught myself this. Public speaking or speaking to inspire, it's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned. But you have to put in the work, and you have to have the right mentors and the right accountability. That's what we have here. I'm giving you a blueprint, a foolproof way to take you through 6 weeks of a boot camp and get you across the goal line. And that's what's going to happen. But you have to pull the trigger. I can't make you do it. You got to take the leap of faith. Trust me. Trust London Real. Trust the guests on here that have made it happen. They put their faith in me every week because we deliver. That's what we do here, and we will deliver for you. So pull the trigger and get it done. And finally, some people say, I think that's actually most of the questions. No, finally people say, Brian, when will you do this again? And the truth is, I don't know when I will. We're busy with business accelerators, with broadcast courses. This is the only time we've ever offered this. And this might be the only time where I'm personally mentoring you. Seriously, you get to see me on the call twice a week, one from the headquarters, one from my home. And I'm there to teach you and get you across the goal line. I've got team leaders, I've got workbooks, I've got video modules, I've got an accountability doc, a private Facebook group. You're uploading videos. We get crazy. And there's a graduation event here in London where you can speak on stage in front of people. You can beam in your speech via video live link if you want. This is all happening, and this is what we create. So I want to go back and check with Julian to see if we have any last questions. And if not, I want to show you the Zoom call software we use inside this course. And I want to invite you to it tonight, and I want to get on this call with you and show what it's like to interact. And of course, you can ask me any final questions just now. Is there anything here, or should we just jump on this Zoom call? Let's jump on the Zoom. Okay, cool. We're going to put the link here inside the chat, and we'll try to get you over to the Zoom call. Again, jump on. The software is for free. You can download it on your phone or on your laptop, and boom, I'll be there. And I would love to show you what it looks like to be on, say, Module 1 of the Tuesday live call, and I want to answer your questions. So I'm going to that now, and you can see what it's like here. It's really quite simple. I've got this software, and you can use this from any mobile device, and boom, I'm on here. And of course, click on the link there and you can join us. And boom, I'm in this meeting right now. And looks like I got W. Stern in the house. And let me come in here. Boom. And boom. All right, we got Julianne here. We got Vito. We got W. Stern. What's going on? If you can, put your real name in there so I can know who you are and what's going on. Can everybody hear me okay? Julianne, can you hear me? Yes? And Vito, can you hear me? Looks like we got Simon in the house and W. Stern. Okay, awesome. Well, this is the software that we're going to use. So again, you can see me and talk to me. We got Ryan in the house. What's up, Ryan? You got to put a shirt on there, Ryan. It's all good, though. Hendrik, what's up? I can just see the top of your head. So if you can just go down here a little bit more. And Julianne, click in here and tell me, what's the biggest challenge you face right now when it comes to public speaking? I know, Julianne, I talked to you, I think, on one of the live calls as well. But Julianne, click in here and tell me. Can you do that? And Julianne's just clicking in on the live link. And Julianne, in the meantime, Hendrik, can you tell me, what city are you in, sir? I don't know if I can hear you. Just try saying something. I can hear you talking, but I can't hear you, actually. Oh, there we go. Julianne just beat you to it. We got Tim in the house. We got Jerry. Hey, Julianne, could you keep talking there?
Hi, Brian.
Hey, how are you, Julianne? Julianne, you're in Germany, right?
Yes, I'm in Germany.
Okay, good. Tell me, what is your speech? If you could give that one speech, what is the one that you want to give, say, in the next 6 weeks?
My speech is about breathworking and the amazing power that breathwork has to change people.
I like it a lot. Okay, and are you going to give this speech in order to build a business, or do you want to give this speech to kind of start a movement, or maybe like a TED Talk?
Everything.
Okay.
I'm already working with this. It's a movement. I will do a TED Talk as well. I've seen TED Talks about this.
Okay. All right. Good. And what's holding you back right now? What's the biggest challenge in keeping you from going ahead and giving that talk? What is it? And be honest with us. Be vulnerable, because that's what we do inside the academy.
I'm already working on it.
Okay.
But what is holding me back? My plan to rob a bank is not really ready now.
Okay, you don't have to rob a bank. Just rob somebody with $197